Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Amanda and this is a vlog of my late autism and ADHD experience. And today this is Amanda's Rambles video. Instead of having hot tea because it's summer, I've got some home brewed peach kombucha. I love kombucha. If you don't know what kombucha is, it's a fermented black tea drink and it can be really expensive to buy the bottles. But it is so easy to make at home. And I actually have a how-to video on my other channel, the Neurospicy Mama. So if you are interested in learning more about homebrewing kombucha, drop down a comment and I will send you the link to that Neurospicy Mama video. On my kind of like defunct cooking channel. Oh my goodness, I'm not going to get off on that tangent. I'm actually turning that channel more into a product review channel, which has been really fun because one of my things that I'm just really good at is going into very detail about any kind of product that I come across because my autistic brain wants to answer all the questions about it. And so when somebody is curious about whether or not they want that product, I'm probably going to answer questions that other videos may not cover. So I'm really good at kind of selling something, but only if I fully believe in the product. And now some of my videos are first impression ones, and that's where I'm just like exploring it. I'm not saying I fully stand behind it. I'm just like, the company like sends me the video and then I'm like exploring it with y'all and like figuring it out. And those are fun too. Anyway, it's so funny when I decide to do these Amanda Rambles videos, I literally hit play and then I just let my brain go where my brain goes. But I actually did make a list today of a couple potential topics that I wanted to talk about. The first one is I wanted to give y'all an update. So you know that like if you are autistic, there are oftentimes you're going to have a co-occurring conditions. Like I'm autistic and ADHD. My son is autistic, ADHD with OCD. And many autistic people also have like learning disabilities like why can't I think of any dyscalculia, dyslexia, those kinds of things. Well, one of the reasons why I'm like so passionate that more people learn about autism is because it seems that if you are autistic, it does affect so many more areas of your body. For instance, I had to have foot surgery last year. And it does tie back to my autism because for whatever reason, a lot of autistic people don't walk properly for the way our bodies are supposed to. Like there's supposed to be a like correct way that you walk so that you don't cause injury to your skeletal system. And it's popularly known that there's a lot of autistics that are toe walkers. It's less known that there's a lot of autistic people that will walk on the sides of their feet. And that's me. I've always walked on the sides of my feet. The, hold on, let me pull off my shoe. The outside edge of my shoes always wear down on the side here faster than in the middle. And now this one, it's getting more towards the middle because I have been aware of it and I'm trying to fix it. It used to wear down on the very outer edge, and now I'm slowly learning to shift my weight to the middle, but it's still, as you can tell, it's wearing down more on the right side than in the middle of the shoe. And honestly, if you look at the back, there's like nowhere, and I think you should have even wearing across your feet. I'm not 100% sure about that. Anyway, yes, I'm wearing my pajamas and my shoes. And part of that is because I'm wearing my pajamas because as I'm learning to unmask autism, I've decided that on days where I really don't have to leave the house for any reason, I'm going to probably stay in my PJs because they are the most sensory friendly clothes that I have. And that helps me not use it helps regulate for the days where I do need to go out into the world and wear clothes that aren't pajamas. And there are days where if I'm really not feeling it and I need to go run errands, I have some really cute pajamas, and I do go out in public in my pajamas now. But so yeah. But now at home, if I don't have anywhere to go today, thankfully, because we've had a really busy couple of weeks. So I'm just chilling out in my pajamas, but I have to wear shoes even at home, because even though I had foot surgery last year, I still need the support of shoes because of the way that I walk incorrectly, and it causes lower back pain and knee pain and all the way up. So all of that to say, comorbidities. And so just in the last couple of weeks, I got diagnosed with PCOS, which is polycystic ovary syndrome. And there are, I'm trying to make sure I say the data right. If you have PCOS, there's more PCOS in autistic women by a smaller percentage than non-autistic women. If I'm researching it right, hold on. Yeah, it says women with autism are more likely to have polycystic ovary syndrome than women without autism. So one study found that 2.3%, which doesn't sound like that much, but 2.3% of women with autism had PCOS compared to the 1.1% controls. Women with autism were more likely to have the 3 core clinical signs and symptoms of PCOS. And my mom and my grandma both had hysterectomies around the age of 40 due to having fibroids in their uterus. And they never got diagnosed with PCOS, but I think that maybe just wasn't a diagnosis back then. Like, they didn't tie that all together. But I think that given everything they have symptom-wise, if they were to go into a doctor now with their list of symptoms, they would say, oh yes, that's PCOS. You had a hysterectomy because PCOS. And maybe they did get diagnosed that, and I just, you don't always know everything about your family's medical history. But the thing that is so infuriating to me is the fact that I have had symptoms of PCOS since puberty, and doctors just didn't put it together for me. And the thing is like, when I was young, the symptoms weren't as noticeable. A lot of it was constant weight gain. I have struggled with my weight since I hit puberty, basically. And even if I eat really, really healthy, I struggle to lose weight. And the only time I've lost weight, like if you go back to the very beginning of this channel, you will see that I'm much thinner at the beginning of this channel. And that is because I was coming off of a hyperfixation of exercise, and I wasn't exercising healthy. I was doing 45 minutes of cardio almost every day. I would take like rest days occasionally, but I was doing about 45 minutes of cardio a day. I was doing 15 to 20 minutes of yoga on top of that. And I was making sure I hit 10,000 to 20,000 steps a day. I basically hyperfixated on fitness to a level that was not healthy to maintain. And yes, I did lose weight, but I was working out like athletic levels. Sorry. And after my foot surgery, I was not able to work out the same. And then it has been a very, very long recovery. He told me it would be about 1.5 years. It's been April, May, June, July, August. It's been 1 year and 5 months since my surgery, and I'm now able to walk. It is a lot better, but I still can't jump. I can't do like those cardio, any kind of high impact cardio, that kind of thing. Anyway, Anyway, so yeah, I did go in and get a ultrasound done, and I have cysts on my in my uterus, weight gain, a lot of acne. I am now having so much facial hair that I'm like shaving my face every day. So these are all like symptoms of PCOS, and like doctors just didn't even see it. And before I had children, so infertility is also a common symptom of PCOS, and it did take me a long time to get pregnant. And I finally started doing those like ovary kits, and I learned that I was only ovulating every other month, which again is another symptom of PCOS. And when I told my doctor that, they're like, oh yeah, that's probably why it's harder for you to get pregnant. They didn't say, oh, that's a really big indicator of PCOS. We should look into this. So my new doctor, right away, she was like, just conversation with her about random other things, she's like, we need to like look into see if you have PCOS. And we did the test, did a lot of blood work, blah, blah, blah. So now I'm going to be forwarded to a gynecologist. Oh, another common symptom of PCOS is like dark patches. And I do get those occasionally, and it's not as bad, but it's getting more noticeable than when I was younger. I got a little off track because my son walked by to go walk the dogs, and that got them all excited. So anyway, basically what I was trying to say is that like I have like the entire symptom list, even skin tags. That's another common PCOS, and doctors just didn't see it. But my new doctor, she saw it. I have to call and get an appointment with a gynecologist, so I might be getting a hysterectomy too, plus medications to mitigate the symptoms, which a lot of it's also just like low energy levels and things like that. So I'm sharing this with y'all because again, this is just like part of the journey of like finding out that I'm autistic and ADHD actually really did open the gates to understanding my health completely as a whole person. So I'm sharing this because, you know, if you are a late diagnosed autistic woman and you've had all these symptoms, I don't think the co-occurring rate is that high, but it is higher than non-autistic women. So I wanted to give that just personal update because I just like to bring y'all all along on what's going on. And then to switch the subject very abruptly, I wanted to tell y'all, so as you'll know, I have been on a journey to unmask, and what that means is that like when I feel like I'm hiding my autism, I'm now able to sometimes recognize it in the retrospect, and I'm also able to ask myself why. Why am I doing that? Why do I feel like I need to act neurotypical in this instance? And recently, ever since Kamala or Biden stepped aside and Kamala is going to be, the presumed nominee for the Democratic Party, I have been hyperfixating on her campaign strategy and like videos about Kamala. It has just turned, autistic people cannot pick what they're going to hyperfixate on. Their brain just latches onto something. If it's something that's harmful, then we may have to redirect. But otherwise, hyperfixations are a really good way for autistic people to regulate and get the dopamine and serotonin that our brains don't produce well, and autistic and ADHD. And so this has suddenly become like a hyperfixation. I was consuming all this content. Well, I am on the Threads app, and I saw people posting for the last several weeks, oh my gosh, I'm tired of reading about politics. Why does politics have to like interfere with all aspects of life? If you aren't a political account, stop posting about politics. And so I immediately wanted to go into masking mode, because masking mode is a survival mechanism for the brain. It's to try to fit in, and that so people will accept you. It is a nervous system response. So you go into fight, flight, fawn, or freeze. And so fawn is like people pleasing. So I'm like, oh, I can't post anything political. But for one thing, politics, at least in America, has now become like life. You can't separate politics from life anymore. Politics should be, hey, should we build a bridge here in this city? Or how should this piece of land be zoned? But instead, our political system has now tried to legalize like whether or not people who love each other should be able to get married, and whether women should have full control, autonomy over their bodies. These are not things that should be politics, but since they are, we're going to talk about them. And you come from a very, very privileged place if you feel like you shouldn't have to talk about politics, because that means that the systems in place aren't affecting your daily life. And so I saw myself masking up, and then I'm like, okay, this isn't cool, because I am hyperfixated on it. This is something that my brain is interested in it. And now I'm not going to like post just like on Threads. I post all of the stuff. Like I'm posting about a book that I'm writing all the time. I'm posting about being autistic, being a mom, exploring my bisexuality. And then right now my current hyperfixation being the political campaign for Kamala. It just totally makes sense to post about it occasionally, especially when it intersects with my life as a disabled person, because again, that's another thing that people are trying to put into laws. And so life is politics these days. You cannot separate the two. And it was really interesting. So when I had the aha moment, and the other reason why I realized that I think my brain hyperfixated on it is because social media has been a special interest of mine since the early 2000s. And so specifically like her marketing strategy and all of that, and how she's using social media to connect with especially young voters. Like my brain is just like so excited for her campaign from the social media aspect too, as well as, oh my gosh, this is a candidate that I love and can get behind. And really quickly, because I know I do have a lot of people who are not American who watch me, but from what I've heard, that unfortunately American politics can have a worldwide effect. And also I want to make sure that if you or you know somebody who is an expatriate who has dual citizenship in America, that they are still allowed to vote. So if you're in Europe and you know somebody who is American with the dual citizenship, maybe ask them, are they going to vote? Because I personally know 2 families who moved away from the United States because they did not like the overturning of Roe v. Wade, which is was getting rid of abortion care in America and taking away reproductive rights. And they also didn't like the way that things were heading for the LGBT community. So these 2 families that I know were wealthy enough to actually move to Europe. But at least one of the families I know is definitely planning on voting for the president, because you can vote if you are dual citizenship. So I'm trying to spread that word because some people may or may not know that. So it's just interesting to see where my mask like pops on, because just from these random people that I don't even know necessarily making comments about, oh, politics shouldn't be something that you talk about if you're not a political account, immediately made me want to mask and stop and listen and people please and do that thing. And so I had to recognize it and then go, forget that. I am who I am, and this is what I am excited about right now, and this is what I'm going to share about. And so the people who love that for me are going to follow, and the people who don't, whatever, here's the door, right? And that is something that before I started unmasking, my mask was so protective of. Like, I had to make sure that everyone liked me. Like, cognitively, I know that not everyone's going to like me, and I knew this before I got diagnosed. Like, cognitively, I understand that, but my mask was going to do everything it could to make sure that as many people liked me as possible, which again turns you into a shell of a human being, because you're just trying to be everything to everyone, and then you become no one, right? Let's see. Do I have time for... I love my Amanda Rambles videos. It's just fun. It really helps me process just all the things that have been just going on. It's been quite... My kids just started driver's ed. I made a post about it, and last week was their first week of driver's ed. It's going a lot better than I thought it would, and yet it is still very difficult. And both my kids are also autistic. I learned to drive when I was 16. Well, actually, I got my permit when I was 15 and learned to drive, and then I was able to get my driver's license right when I turned 16. My kids are already 16 and a half. They will probably get their full license closer to 17. And a lot of autistic people don't drive, and that's okay. But I know that my kids are capable of driving. I just knew it was going to be difficult. We decided to give them a little bit of extra time before we put them in driver's ed. Initially, especially my daughter was like, I don't want to do this. But as a parent, it's really hard knowing when to push your children outside their comfort zone and then when to protect them. But unfortunately, in America, our public transportation system is the absolute pits. And I think that since my kids I know are capable of driving, just any kind of change is scary. And I know that, like, just the idea of the test is actually what was preventing them from wanting to do driver's ed, because they don't test well. It's so frustrating because I know they'll be able to drive well, but when someone's watching them, that changes everything, right? And so they may or may not have to take it multiple times, but I think it's going to set them up for better success if they're going to be able to drive and not have to rely on public transportation. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with public transportation. It is, I wish it was a better option for more people. I wish our public transportation system was more robust in this country. Anyway, I think I'm going to end the video here. I could go on probably for another half hour at least. I did have some stuff that I didn't get to, but got to save some for another video, I guess. So thank you for watching this video. If you haven't watched my last video yet, you might want to. I talk about how being neurodivergent is a reason, not an excuse. The video is doing pretty good. It's kind of fun to see that, when I put out videos, never know what the reception is going to be, but I'm glad that one's doing well. And make sure that you do all the things to help me boost my content in the algorithm. Also, because I don't really have because I don't have a posting schedule because of pathological demand avoidance, if you turn on that notification bell, it'll let you know when I put out a new video. I'm glad that YouTube has that feature for content creators like myself who just can't do a posting schedule. If I was to try to do a posting schedule, my pathological demand avoidance would kick in and y'all would never get any videos from me. So I appreciate all of y'all so much for not suggesting or pushing the fact that I don't have a posting schedule. I try to post regularly. It's just never on the same day at all. Until the next video, bye guys.